I have 5 recipe ideas for you that we had this past weekend for a football game to watch the Vikings in the playoffs. We made a brisket, we made a cranberry jalapeno dip with crackers, we made some Reuben Roll Ups, some taco wontons, and some wings. I hope you enjoy this video. Please consider subscribing if you haven't, and enjoy the recipes. This recipe is a wing recipe from the Hey Grill Hey website that I'll have linked below. We first had this in a brine overnight in the fridge. The brine consists of 2 bottles of dark beer. We used Guinness, a tablespoon of kosher salt, and a tablespoon of crushed red pepper flakes. Then we patted those dry and set them on this pan with the grate. And then we dried them in the fridge for a little over 3 hours before we cooked them. This is the sauce. It's a sweet buffalo sauce. It's a 1/3 cup Frank's buffalo sauce, wing sauce, 1½ cups dark brown sugar, and 1 tablespoon of butter. Those are the wings fully cooked. We did it at 375 degrees for 30 minutes. And then you flip them over and cook them another 15 minutes. Now we're covering them with that sauce and getting it mixed up real well. These were delicious, amazing. I'm not typically a wing fan, but I did love these. This is a Reuben Roll Up or Reuben Bite recipe. The inspiration for this recipe came from Natasha's Kitchen. I will have that linked down below. So I'm using some crescent rolls, and the way I roll these up are not pretty, but it gets the job done, and they were delicious. A pretty big hit at our football party. So I'm putting 2 or 3 slices of the budded corned beef down, and then the Swiss cheese. I would do shredded cheese if you're going to make them. It would just make it easier to roll up. And then I did double the time. The original recipe calls for 15 minutes at 350 degrees. I did at least a ½ hour. You want it pretty browned on top just to make sure it's cooked all the way through, the dough is. And then I did not add the Thousand Island inside. We just had that on the side as a dipping sauce. These were a really big hit. Everyone loved them. And it'd be great. It's super easy. It'd be great for a football party or the Super Bowl. This is a taco wonton recipe. I've been making this recipe for at least 20 years. It is always a hit when I have a party. Everyone loves it and people request it all the time. I kind of have it down to a science, so I don't use a recipe anymore. It's just I know what to do. Here I'm making a double batch, so I'm using 3 pounds of Italian sausage. You could use hamburger or a combo of the two, and I'm using mild Italian sausage, so I am adding some taco seasoning, but you could use hot as well, or a combo of hot and mild. Now I'm just dicing up some tomatoes. You can try and get rid of the juice a little bit if you want. And then get that mixed up. Now I'm shredding in some pepper jack cheese. I have used cheddar in the past as well, and you could use the bagged cheese as well. I just find that shredding it like this, I like it better. It tastes better to me. It is more work though, and I don't enjoy shredding cheese. Usually I'm asking my husband to do it. So I'm adding in about 3/4 of this bottle of ranch. If you were to cut this recipe in half or do a third of the recipe, you'd maybe want to do a cup of ranch. You don't want to overdo it with the ranch. And then a whole jar of sliced black olives. You could leave these out if you don't like black olives. You can make it what you want. So now I'm just showing you how I put in the wontons. You're going to want to bake these first for probably at least 10 minutes. You want the edges to be pretty browned before you put the filling in. Otherwise, they're just going to be soggy and fall apart. You want it to be more like a cup, so when you pick it up, it's firm and you can just eat it with your fingers. So now those are, you can kind of see the edges there are browned, and now I'm filling it, and I go by when it starts sizzling, I know it's done. I know it's hot because everything in there is, you know, cooked. So you just want it to get hot. And I was showing you there how I can pick it up and it's like a cup. I even like this filling if you have some left over as like a chip or a cracker dip. So good. This recipe, the way I have it here, probably makes 5 dozen. So you probably don't need that many, but I was sharing it between 2 households again. So here you go. These are the taco wontons, probably my favorite appetizer. This is a brisket recipe. I will leave the original recipe down below. It's from the Hey Girl Hey website. We do love their recipes for our smoker. I believe a lot of them you can also do in your oven or grill as well. I'm not familiar with this recipe. My husband did most of the cooking on this one, so I'll just leave it linked down below in case you're interested in that recipe, and enjoy. This is a pretty popular cranberry jalapeno dip, and I serve it with Ritz crackers. So it's 1 full bag of cranberries that I chopped. And you probably want to use some sort of Cuisinart because chopping those by hand would take you forever. Then I'm going to add in a couple pinches of salt. And then a 1/2 cup of sugar. You want to let that sit with the sugar on it for at least 30 minutes, if not longer. Longer is not going to hurt it. And then now I'm dicing up some jalapeno, getting all the seeds out as best as I can, trying not to touch my eyes as I do this. A lot of times I do wear the gloves while I do this. Now I'm going to cut up this lime and put in the lime juice. You can see that some of those cranberries are still full, they're not chopped, which is totally okay. And now I'm putting in a block of cream cheese. I did have this sitting out for a little bit, so it was a little softer. You could also use the whipped cream cheese, that would work well. A pie pan is perfect for this because you kind of want those edges so you can dip your cracker in it. But I know some people want to use the knife as well. So we had a great Vikings game day, except for they lost, but we had fun. We had lots of food. And I hope you enjoy this video, and please consider subscribing. Thanks for watching.